Welcome to Really Cool Stuff for the Home podcast, sponsored by HomeWerks. And now with today's show on all the ways to improve your home is your host, Denise Sanchez.
Good afternoon, everybody. And this is my fifth podcast. I feel like I'm getting the hang of things. And we're going to talk about, again, one of my favorite lines of appliances, the BlueStar. It's very important to our company. In fact, we are a chef event center for BlueStar. Before COVID, we would have chef events all the time and love doing it and can't wait to get back to it. The last four segments, we talked about several different things. We talked about the fact that it's an all-American company, American product, American parts, American owned, and has been around since 1890. In fact, they're celebrating 140 years. And they even came out with a new model called the anniversary model with some special features and logos depicting the 140 years. And we've been talking with one of the BlueStar regional managers, Nick Lamneck, who has been very, very informative and a lot of fun to be with. And so I invited him again to be with us on our last segment. We do have a couple of surprise guests during this show, and I can't wait to share them with you. But on this podcast, I really wanted to talk about the fabulous ovens. Everyone likes to focus on ranges, but sometimes people want not only a range with an oven, but they may want wall ovens. Some people think they're more ergonomic, when you're pulling a big, heavy, roasting pan out of the oven, or they just want the flexibility of having more ovens. And Nick, there are a lot of offerings that BlueStar has for their ovens, gas ovens and electric ovens. And on the gas ovens, we have a wide range of sizes. Can you speak about that?
Sure. We do provide a gas wall oven. We're one of the only people in the residential market that still make one. So there are some customers out there that want some. So we are a go-to for that. What we do with our ovens, how I always talk about usable capacity. We have a 24, a 30, and a 36. Even our 30-inch wall oven will fit the full-size catering sheet pans on all the racks.
Also, on the, I've never understood this part. Maybe you can help me out on this. On one side of the baking stone, it's more coarse than the other side. It's more fine. And I understand that there's a reason for that.
I believe my first thought is different things adhere differently. Pizza, you kind of want more of a rigid texture so it doesn't stick to it. I had a friend that actually bought our electric oven, and he was saying he was having trouble with his pizza sticking to it. And one of the chefs actually said to sprinkle cornmeal over it to make it. I think that's the reason. One surface is more smooth for different for things such as soft pretzels.
Understand that it also, your breads come out differently as well, depending on which side you cook it on. I've never quite understood that, but I thought maybe you could enlighten us a little bit more. And on the European convection, they don't just have convection, they have European convection. So the convection really got a bad reputation here in the States because it would be just a fan kind of blowing cool air to try to recirculate the air, but they didn't do as well as the true European convection. Can you speak as to what's different about that?
Well, basically what it is, as you said, cool air, it kind of defeats the purpose. So European convection is a heat source around the fan. So the fan actually is a boost to preheat, also circulates hot air as it's cooking. So it's not just blowing around air and adding cool air. It boosts the preheat, and it just, in the wall ovens, it is an electric element, as opposed to our platinum range that has the flame around it. That really is the true European convection. This is technically European convection because we do have that heating element. It's either a circle or a stop sign pattern around that convection fan.
Okay, I'm going to stop because I have a surprise guest for you.
Ooh.
So are we ready? Okay. Andrew, this is Chef Andrew Weissman. Hi, Chef. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. But just a second, I have to brag about you for just a second, Chef. Now, you were in the top of your class at the Culinary Institute of America at Hyde Park in New York, and a James Beard nominated chef multiple times. You then went to France and worked under a couple of notable chefs and returned back to us in our hometown of San Antonio about 20 years ago and opened up, I'm not sure I'm saying it correct, La Réveille Is that correct?
Lorez. It means
Lorez.
green.
Okay.
You're close.
Okay. And that was in 2001. And literally, you helped put San Antonio on the map as a nationally renowned culinary designation. And the reason why I'm saying all this, I just wanted everyone to know what a great chef you are, because we are very, very proud that as a great chef, you selected BlueStar as your personal range for the home. And I just wanted to speak to you about that and get some thoughts from you about why you selected the BlueStar range. And also,
Sure.
too, I know you have 6 burners and a 24-inch French top. Maybe you can tell us what chefs really like about a French top as well.
Yeah, well, I'll start with why I chose BlueStar. One of the great things about a BlueStar is, I'm working all day on a range at work that has high BTUs and over-engineered and things like that. It would be kind of a drag to come home and not have the same firepower that you have at work, and not be able to produce quality, professional quality dishes like you can at work for your family. Because how much more satisfying is it when you're cooking for, I look at all my clients like family, but when I get home and I cook for my children and my wife, that's really important to me. So I want to make sure that I have a product that I can utilize that's going to perform like what I have at work. And the BlueStar definitely does that. Also, along with that, aesthetically, it's just a beautiful range. Regarding the French flat top, working in New York and in Europe, I became so accustomed to the French flat top. It's the beauty of the French flat top is it's a completely usable surface. Unlike your traditional burners,
right?
This has the ability to, let's say, around the periphery. So let's back up. A French flat top, for those who don't know, is what they call in French a plaque, or basically a piece of steel. And as you migrate towards the center of that plaque, it becomes hotter with the kind of like a jet flame underneath. Around the periphery, you can hold sauces or things that need to be held a little bit more delicately. Whereas in the center, you can really like boil water and crazy things. You can saute high heat and get your pan smoking hot. Another thing that I like about the French flat top is the cleanability aspect, as opposed to a traditional burner where things kind of fall down in there sometimes and you got to work at scrubbing those out. The French flat top is kind of once it cools down, you wipe it off or you brick it and you're good to go. Mm-hmm.
So you have some famous recipes that you cook at home?
I don't know about that. I just cook, it's a little bit more relaxed and not so defined as in the restaurant. So I like to just go into the refrigerator and see what's there and try to create meals for my family from what we have in the house.
Have you seen that there are inner chefs in your children as well?
My daughter loves to bake.
Ah.
My wife would be the first to admit she is a horrendous cook, like on the verge of poisoning us on a couple of occasions. But she has gotten better over the years. Mm-hmm. Now she has probably 3 or 4 dishes in her repertoire that we can enjoy to some level as a family. But in the past, it's been a rocky road, I'll tell you that.
Oh my goodness. So what does your daughter think about the ovens of the BlueStar? Because you've got 2 huge 30-inch ovens at your disposal.
What's so cool about that is you can fit a full-size sheet tray in there. So she loves to bake cakes and cookies and things like that. So she's just enamored with it. And my boys love it, but I always have to detail it or clean it after they utilize it because they spill stuff all over and whatnot. But everybody in the family loves it. And it's one of those things where it's not this delicate little thing that I'm afraid that they're going to, because, we spent some money on this and there are certain things that the children, you don't want them to mess with because you're afraid that they're going to mess it up. This thing is so over-engineered that I can, kind of walk away without worrying too much about them messing something up.
Right. It's usually a heavier gauge than most anything out there, in the American stainless steel. It really is. And the fit and finish is beautiful. And even the knobs are metal. I mean, there's just nothing that's not very well made.
No, it's unbelievable. It really is. And we entertain a lot in our home and how everything kind of ends up in the kitchen. Everybody always comments on how beautiful. It's really like a piece of art.
Right.
It really makes our kitchen. Yeah.
And you also picked a beautiful BlueStar wall hood, which has plenty of airflow, but the one that you picked was beautiful.
Oh, I think so. I go over to friends' houses now, and well, it's kind of embarrassing, but if I go to a friend's house, I end up cooking in the kitchen with that individual or individuals, and you get smoked out if you try to sear something, whether it's a steak or
right.
A piece of pheasant or whatever. But with this thing, it's like there is no issue of anything really escaping from that hood. It's wonderful. Well,
I thank you so much for the nice comments. I know your wonderful restaurant signature is going strong at the La Cantera area, right?
It is. Yes, it is. It's tremendous. Yeah.
And I think you created another culinary rich area in our city, as I see other great restaurants opening up in that area as well. And I know you have a couple of other endeavors that will be appearing shortly. I think you're doing something at the airport in the near future here locally.
I am.
That's
if people
exciting.
start flying again, it'll be great. We'll have to wait and see, though.
Well, I love the idea of you saying that you love doing one thing and doing it extremely well. I've seen that quote several times throughout some of the information I've seen about you. And I just wanted to thank you so much for talking with us and letting us know what you think about the BlueStar and why you picked it. We are very, very proud to have you as one of our BlueStar owners. I can tell you that. It's a bragging right that we use here locally at HomeWerks. And I hope to see you again very, very soon. And thank you so much, Chef, for talking with us.
You sure will. Thank you. And thank you for the awesome opportunity to talk about it. I really am proud. I'm proud to own one. So I really do thank you. And as you know, I've had it for about, 5 years now.
I know. I can't believe it. Yes.
It looks as good as the day we bought it.
Awesome.
I appreciate everything. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you very, very much. Bye-bye. So what'd you think about that surprise, Nick?
That was great. Our marketing team will want to sink their claws into
that. Isn't that nice? Oh my gosh. He's such a great man. He really is. He's a wonderful person, very, very busy person. He's had about 8 different restaurants, very high end. He opens them. Some of them have been open for 18, 20 years, and he closes them as he sees fit, but he's doing a lot of unique things very, very shortly. So we're just excited to have him as a BlueStar owner. And he did do some research. When he came into the store, he had been doing his research, but we had to show him everything. And he really fell for it. He loves it.
That was a very, very good endorsement. I love that.
Yes, sir. That was my surprise for you.
Hey.
Okay. Again, we talked about the true European convection. And people think that you're going to do European convection just for like cookies, but that's not the case, especially when you have these big ovens. Like if you're doing a turkey, let's say, you want to put the convection oven on, because on a 36-inch range or oven, you're going to possibly have a hot and cold spots. So you don't want one turkey leg more done than the other. And if you pop that convection on, that's going to prevent that from happening, right?
Correct.
Better browning. And then also to the French door. I know we did briefly touch about this before in the last podcast or two, but let's touch about it again, because the French door is more than just about looking cool. It has that commercial look, but there's a reason for the French doors. And I wanted you to kind of expand on that.
Definitely. Couple things that come to mind first, especially if you have an island right behind you and you open up a drop door and it butts you up to the island, you have to reach over it. It takes away that worry. If the French door opens right up and you go right out, right in, right out, take your food. If you're holding a heavy pot or plate in one hand, the French doors react together. You just open the one door, they open and close together. So all you need is one hand to open it easily, put your food in, close it, and you've done it perfectly. So it takes away that, especially there's one place when we had the reality show, The Little Couple. They put our French door oven in their kitchen because they had smaller arms. So it was harder for them to reach over a drop down door. So this was perfect for them. They just opened it up, went right in, put their food in, got their food, and it worked out very, very well for them. It was exactly what they needed.
And, I've had several petite women that weren't little people so much as they were just very, very petite. And they would have, scars on their arms from the times that they would be putting in that turkey or just a plate of cookies and burning themselves on the doors. And the French door was just really a saving thing for them. Yes. But it does make it a little bit easier to pop things in and out of the oven, even if you're tall. It's nice. I know I really enjoy it in our showroom when we're bringing out those big pizza things. It's nice and easy. We also had the drop down door versions. In fact, when we do the double ovens, the electric ovens are double. The French door is on top and the bottom doors is always a drop down. And that's just because.
Mainly because it's higher up. A drop down door, you're kind of leaning forward. A drop down door would push you back. So when it's lower, you can kind of lean down and put it in, take it out. I think just for the average person, it just works out better to have the French top on.
Yeah, I do. I think so too. And then also they do have the roast probes for the electric ovens. That's very important.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Sure. It eliminates the guessing game of if your turkey's done. And it plugs right into the cavity. So you don't have to open it up, look at the probe like an old-fashioned probe.
Right.
You just on the control panel go, and it'll tell you exactly where that is without even opening the doors. You can tell where everything is, so you don't have to cool down the oven by opening it up and take everything out.
And then on the cleaning of these are very easy to clean, but they have a couple of different cleaning modes. They have what they call a continue clean, which is eco-friendly, and then they have the speedy self-clean. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes, and what I always do too when I talk about the continue clean is it's not to be mistaken for continual clean or continuous clean, which was something that was done years ago. It was a different surface in the cavity, and it actually kind of absorbed oils, and it kind of was a failed experiment. So a lot of people hear, a lot of salespeople that have been around will hear that and go, "Whoa, no!" But it's continue clean. A little different. And there are catalytic converters, which are filters around the convection fan that filter out grease particles out of the air, out of the cavity as it's cooking. So you don't get a grease buildup. We do have a self-clean function, but you won't really have to use it as much because it's cleaning itself as it's cooking.
Right.
So again, it's eco-friendly because it's not taking up much energy. You don't have to do that high heat cleaning function for hours, using up energy. It's just always cleaning itself as it cooks.
That's awesome. That's one of the feedbacks I get from customers. They say, my oven really doesn't get that dirty, and it's so easy to clean. And even on the tops of, I go back to the cast iron tops on the range. I've had customers say things like it's self-cleaning. It really does. Most things burn off. So they've done a good job on that. I do have another customer that I wanted to bring in on a phone call. And are they ready for us? Okay. Charmaine, is that you?
Yes.
How are you doing?
We're well. How are you all doing?
We're doing great. So, Nick, I wanted to tell you about Mark and Charmaine O'Neill. We have the best customers. We really do. But some of our customers are really super thoughtful. They think about us during the holiday season and will bring us goodies that they prepare in their dream kitchens. And one of my favorite customers is Mark and Charmaine O'Neill because they purchased a 36-inch range with 6 burners on top and a huge oven below a little over 4 years ago. And since then, during the holidays, they bring us a goodie bag of delicious cookies where the recipe has been passed down through her family. Charmaine, we'll talk about why you picked the BlueStar range in a minute. But first, let's talk about those cookies. Can you tell me a little bit about this wonderful cookie? Because it is very, very different.
I can. This tradition started probably about 100 years ago with my great-grandparents who were French immigrants. And they eventually settled in Pittsburgh, Kansas. And there was it's a coal mining town. So my great-grandfather was a coal miner. But there was a foundry there that made French cookie irons. And I think it was called Gillette is the name of the company, and they're no longer in business. But my great-grandmother used to make these cookies, years ago, and it just got passed down through my family. So we have these special irons that we use to make the cookies. We cook them, we hand roll them one at a time, we cook them one at a time on top of the stove in these heavy irons. And the reason I selected this particular range is it just really made my life easier, because it usually takes Mark and I a full day to mix the cookies, roll them out by hand, and then cook them. And previously I could only work like 2 irons at a time because I didn't have enough space. So the reason I selected this particular range was that, number one, I really liked the shape of the burner heads, because I was concerned, we cook the iron goes on top of the burner, and most gas ranges have that big center thing.
Yeah, the ring of fire, I call it.
Yeah. And it didn't seem to me like, well, let me back up a minute. So when we built our house, we decided we definitely wanted a gas range. And when I started looking at them, and I saw that most of them had this big round thing in the center, and then we went over to HomeWerks, and Denise showed us the BlueStar, and the way the burner head is shaped, it gets the whole iron hot. So it helps me to cook the cookies faster, and I get a more even heat, so that they're cooked pretty uniformly. But we've been I guess we've done it 3 years now,
right.
And it really makes my life a lot easier.
In fact, I have some pictures I'll be sharing with the listeners that you sent to me, Charmaine, and it shows me what a production you have with these cookies. And you must have a lot of thankful people on your Santa's list. That's what I can say. So are there any other specialty foods that you do, though, that you have prepared with better results than with other cooking products?
Well, just cooking in general. I really prefer gas range, and this range is just really great. Patty melt.
And the fact that you're on liquid propane, this is really important too, because, like we've talked about in the past, we can convert any range on the market, can be converted either by the factory or done locally, but you lose 10 to 20% of your BTU effectiveness. And you will not lose one single BTU when you do a BlueStar, because they build it to an LP and as opposed to converting it, so that you won't lose any of the performance from your BTUs. That's pretty cool, right?
Definitely.
Well, again, thanks for being great customers and thinking about us during the holidays. And the holidays are coming up, and I hope to be seeing you soon.
I'm sure you will.
We really do, Charmaine. Seriously, I know it is a labor of love for you, but I promise you, there are no more appreciative people than me and Randy at our store where we get those cookies. We love them.
Great. I'm glad you enjoy.
Thank you so much for your comments, Charmaine. See you soon.
Okay.
Isn't that nice? Don't we have the best customers?
You got some great customers.
Yeah.
It's I'm on the East Coast, so it's 4:30 my time. It's getting close to dinner, and my stomach is going crazy right now with all this.
Oh, and these cookies are real crispy, and they're sweet, but they're not. They're kind of like they're between a sugar and a butter cookie. I mean, they are just so good. And then they have this pattern on them. I mean, they're beautiful cookies. But these presses, they look kind of like a panini press almost, but they're smaller. And I'm going to be showing pictures of that for the podcast so people can look at it. But her kitchen, you ought to see, she's got all these cookie doughs all rolled out, getting ready to press. I mean, there must be hundreds of them that she's done. She's amazing. Wow. So are there anything else that you can think that we can talk about as far as the ovens? Yeah, I keep interrupting you.
Oh, no problem. No, this has been great. Nothing is better than customer testimony.
Right.
As we started, like I said, a lot of it is word of mouth, and that's what really does well for us. But like I always tell people, especially coming out with the electric wall, with the gas wall ovens, we're one of the only people that still do it. And the oven still has all the great selling points of our range, just without the range top. But it has that oven that fits all the sheet pans. A lot, like she said, a lot of bakers love it, because what used to take them multiple cycles, multiple different bakes, they can just load up sheet pans. If they have a double oven, they can put 6 full sheet pans in them and just bang it all out in one bake cycle. So, but especially with the electric oven, I always tell people I start out whenever I'm training dealers, I talk about the benefits of gas cooking, how that's our bread and butter, why chefs prefer gas ovens, how it's a moist heat, how it's electric is a dry heat. But you do have bakers that really do prefer electric. And we came out with electric oven, I kind of had to turn on my heel and all of a sudden sell an electric oven now. And I've been telling people how great gas is my whole career. But what we did, we really took our time with it. We didn't want to just put out a Me Too product, just another electric oven. So we added the baking stone as the bottom, and it's temperature controlled.
Love that.
Yeah, normally with stone baking, you just heat up the oven, you throw a stone on the center rack, and you kind of wing it. It tells you when it's 550. You can do that stone baked pizza in 4 minutes. I've seen them, people bang through them on that. The usable capacity, the fan, the European convection, and we feel like we really did that. And we really wanted to not just make an electric oven, but we wanted to make a BlueStar. Something that can still have that name and that chefs and bakers will still stand behind and say, wow, this is really cool. This is something that I can really get behind. And I think we really did it.
And I think a lot of people embrace the fact that, say they do a range and they'll have their gas range, they'll have their gas oven, but then they'll have their electric oven. So they feel like they have the best of both worlds. And you really do. Or again, for that customer that wants that range top, and they want more ergonomic, with the ovens in the wall, there's that customer as well. And then for the customer that still wants the best of both worlds, you can have the electric oven and stack it over a gas oven. So there's so many different ways that you can personalize your dream kitchen to make sure it fits you and your inner chef needs. And I have one more customer that I'm dying to talk to. And I wanted to, you got a minute? So, Charles, this is Denise. How are you doing, Charles?
I'm doing well.
Good.
How are y'all?
We're doing great. And I know that we always talk about how people have these big, huge ranges and do so much with them. But I want customers to know that you have a 30-inch BlueStar range that you do a lot of entertaining and cooking on. You have a little bit of special situation in that you created a unique area for your cooking and entertaining. Can you tell us a little bit about that, just briefly?
Well, briefly, I have bought two houses, one by the next door to the other. And I live in one house, but I entertain in the second house.
Okay, that's serious business.
So in the second house, I have essentially an industrial kitchen with Miele and with Venahood and with BlueStar and open rack systems. All my pans and everything are just out in the open like you would in a professional environment. And I can work quickly. I never really have seen very many people who operate in a home environment who honestly need 6 burners. That's not to suggest that there aren't benefits for them, and sometimes you can, but as a single cook, I can barely keep 4 things going at the same time. So I'm perfectly happy with the 4. And I actually like, given that it's a 30-inch with 4 burners, I love that center space, the center structure with the cast iron, so that I can slide pans on and off quickly and keep the heat, keep the flame where I want it, but manage things if I need to slow something down or to mix something in, I can do that in a way that's completely controlled and move then back onto my burner. That's a feature that, even though it's a 4-top, that space in the middle is really quite functional.
Exactly. You don't have to pick up your pot either to slide it from one side to the other because of that middle space.
Yes, indeed.
And Charles, what is your background? What made you such a great cook?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a great cook, but I was a professor at the University of Texas for a number of years and have been running and been part of executive education programs for both UT and for Baylor Scott & White, which is a healthcare system, for 35, 40 years. And to make it personal, when I started in 1982, I got divorced. And in 82, you couldn't go anywhere without cigarette smoke being everywhere. So I had to learn to cook if I wanted to date. So I learned to cook because
there was no place to go. There were no restaurants where things were really good for non-smokers. So that was the beginning of it. And over the years, I have developed a cadre of friends and people in the wine trade who enjoy cooking and bringing our own wines to the table.
Oh, makes our great party.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that in the pre-COVID world, we were having 3 to 4, 5 dinner parties every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That would be normal. And now we're down to, honestly, 1 party every 2 weeks, and we do them distance with maybe only 3 people instead of 5 or 6. But I've got a table that's 10 feet long, and we can sit at opposite ends. So we're trying to be safe, but we're trying to pick up and rejoin the
world, right?
The world.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends who love to cook love coming here. We used to go to all the restaurants in town, especially for lunches. But people love to come here, and they love the open kitchen and the
great results you get.
BlueStar performs like a champ. There's an irony for tonight. I'm working now on a Brazilian tomato coconut soup with shrimp, and I'm just peeling and deveining shrimp right now. I'll stop for a moment while we talk. And I'm going to take this soup with me to a friend's house in Alamo Heights, and he has a 6-burner BlueStar.
Oh, really? Small world.
The camaraderie of, and he's making a venison risotto tonight.
Oh my gosh!
And we'll be drinking rosés from the south of France, and they match beautifully with both the Brazilian soup and with the risotto. And we'll sit outside on the porch. We may have to eat with gloves on, but that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be safe, and life has to
keep going on.
We have to find a new way of living that's
right.
safe and that doesn't leave us isolated.
Right. Well, Charles, I don't know why we haven't become better friends. I got to talk to you more often, but I wanted to, because you have this 30-inch BlueStar, again, everyone thinks bigger is better. I just wanted to showcase how much you do with a 30-inch piece of equipment and how well you do. And I think of you as being a chef. I'm sorry. I hear great things about how you cook and the way you entertain. In fact, I believe you have several chef friends. Isn't that correct?
Yes, there have been a number of the professional chefs in town who've been here for dinner, and they've taught me many things. But the thing that I love to do for them is to have them come for dinner and not have to cook.
Right. How nice. Yes.
And so
yes.
They love that. The funny part about it is usually if I get somebody, and I'm not going to mention names of people that are still in town, but there was a man named Josh Cross, who had a restaurant called Oloroso in Southtown. And he would come for dinner. He loves the BlueStar. He's now up in Minnesota working in some other capacity. But the point is, when you invite a chef to dinner, the trick is the first time they come, make sure that you don't apologize for anything.
Right.
They're used to somebody saying, I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's not going to be. Just cook.
You're right.
Just cook. Enjoy. Pick
Yes.
something that you think they'll enjoy and do it. And the fun part is if you don't let them do anything the first time, because they're used to also being put in a position where they go to people's houses and somehow they get roped into cooking.
Right.
But if you don't let them do anything the first time, the second time they come, they can't stand it. So they have to get at the stove. They have to bring a dish. They have to do something. They have to show you something to do better. And it's just the great fun of them knowing that you really appreciate what they do, but you didn't invite them over
for them, for that, right? They invited them because you thought of them as a friend. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
invite them to celebrate the cooking, celebrate the food the way that they make you feel when you go to a great restaurant.
Right.
The other thing is, this thing about 4 versus 6 burners. I'm sure there are times when you can use more of that capacity, but I really think people should focus on the quality and the control that you get from BlueStar, and not just the look. The look is spectacular, There's nothing quite as remarkable as some of the stuff that you can see in this industry. But what really matters is steadiness, reliability, flexibility. I love the fact that I've got these two really high intensity burners, but I also absolutely love my simmer.
Oh, that's
burner.
So good. 130 degrees, that is.
Yeah, and it just you have complete control. It doesn't scorch things. Right now, it's cooking my Brazilian coconut soup, and boy, it smells good.
Oh my gosh, my stomach is just starting to ache for some food. Listening to all this.
But the key thing is that it's something to use, to enjoy. I do recommend that you pay a lot of attention to the installation and the installation requirements, and make sure you have the right electric circuitry, and make sure you have the right gas.
Right.
Because this is a high usage, high quality, high demand product, and it needs to have the right. It needs to be set up right. You wouldn't buy a Ferrari and then take it down and get the cheapest gasoline you could get. You wouldn't do that.
That's right.
For this, you want to make sure you do this right. It's not that it's hard. It just pay attention to what your people instruct. Don't cut corners on the
Exactly.
Nice.
Charles, thank you so much for your wonderful comments. And I really enjoyed talking with you and learning about how you love to entertain and how you entertain. You ought to do a cookbook, I think, too. Sounds like.
Well, we always have fun.
Yeah.
I'll bring you some soup the next time.
Oh, okay. That's a promise. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Because I wanted to say thank you so much, Nick, for the working with me on these last 5 podcasts. It's been great. You've been informative. You've been fun, a lot of fun, and brought a lot to the table. And I just wanted to thank you so much for being with me. And sorry about the technical difficulties, and hope to see you soon. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening to our podcast about BlueStar. And I hope you enjoyed listening to our 3 great customers that HomeWerks has that own the BlueStar products and can envision yourself having a dream kitchen with BlueStar, and also just getting information about what's out there, for professional ranges and ovens for the home. You can call us at 210-499-5760 if you have any questions, or visit us at homeworkssa.com. And thank you so very, very much.